Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to peek behind the curtain at a really fascinating way to tell a story, one that doesn't need a whole team of writers or even an audience. Nope, just your imagination and a little bit of luck. I mean, listen to this. It's immediate, it's violent, and it feels so incredibly real. It comes from a bigger story about ambition and survival during the brutal 1848 California gold rush. You'd swear this was a real journal entry, written right in the heat of the moment. The writing just has this raw, authentic feel that really pulls you in. But where it comes from, well, that's not what you'd expect at all. In fact, the origin of the story is the whole reason we're doing this explainer today. So where in the world did this gripping tale come from? Well, the answer is this really unique blend of gaming, journaling, and pure on-the-spot creativity. Let's dig into how it all works. Okay, here it is, the big reveal. That entire story, it wasn't written in the traditional sense. It was played. Yeah, you heard me right. It was created using a solo journaling role-playing game, which is basically a framework designed to help one person spin up an entire narrative completely from scratch. And this is where it gets really interesting. See, most of us, when we think of role-playing games, we picture a group of friends around a table, right? With a game master telling the story. A solo RPG completely flips that on its head. It turns into this personal, almost meditative journey, where the rules and the roll of the dice become your creative partners. So you're probably wondering, how on earth does a simple set of rules, a pen, and a few dice build a world filled with claim jumpers, business schemes, and life-or-death fights? Let's take a look under the hood of this thing. Okay, so first things first, it all kicks off with a character. Our story gives us Sienna Rousseau. Get this, she's from a rich family, has never worked a single day in her life, and her big goal is simple: get rich out in California. That simple idea is the seed, and the entire story grows from there. The story moves forward in weekly entries. And the best part is, you're not just staring at a terrifyingly blank page. Instead, you're answering a structured set of questions, like these right here. This simple framework gives the whole narrative a steady rhythm and makes sure the story is always moving ahead. And this is the secret sauce: randomness. The player rolls dice, checks them against random tables, and bam, a new character like Zeke McCormick might walk into the story, or a whole new plotline just appears out of nowhere. This keeps the story from ever getting predictable and forces the writer to constantly think on their feet. So, what's so cool about this is that the player is both the author and the audience. You're making choices for your character, sure, but then the dice can throw a massive curveball at you at any second. The journal ends up being this genuine record of discovery, and it's just as surprising to the person writing it as it is to anyone who might read it later. All right, let's actually watch this engine in action. We're going to see how a single, simple, two-word prompt can just completely explode into a massive high-stakes scene for our character, Sienna. So the game generates a prompt for the week's trouble, and it's just two words: attack, hope. That's it. Just those two words. But from that tiny little spark, the player ignites a whole bonfire. Sienna gets attacked in an alley, but that word hope inspires her to come up with this desperate but brilliant plan to survive. So she's got a knife at her throat, right? And she doesn't just fight back with her fists. She uses her wits. She creates a diversion, turning her own vulnerability into a kind of weapon. It's that flicker of hope in a moment that seems completely hopeless. And boom, just like that, the tables are turned. The power dynamic completely flips. Sienna goes from victim to the one in total control. This whole character-defining scene, the clever tactic, the sudden violence, that ice-cold threat at the end, all of it grew from that simple two-word prompt. And here's what's truly amazing about this storytelling engine. It's so adaptable. The same basic set of rules, prompts, dice rolls, writing it down, can create these wildly different stories, tones, and even genres. So on one hand, you get Sienna's story. It is gritty survival. We're talking cholera outbreaks, mining politics, and schemes to open a brothel. It's a story about capitalism and survival on the raw, unforgiving frontier. But then, using the exact same system, you get this other story about a character named Lupina. And it's this sweet, budding romance in an enchanted forest. It's about saving your crush from wolves and the simple joy of a piggyback ride home. A totally, totally different vibe. So what's the big takeaway here?
I mean, why does any of this matter beyond just being a kind of fun niche hobby?
Because it's so much more than just a game. It's really a powerful creative tool. For a writer, it's like a sledgehammer for writer's block. For anyone, really, it's a private little sandbox where you can explore ideas with absolutely zero pressure. It's an engine that is literally designed to surprise you and take your story in directions you never could have planned. And that's really the magic formula, isn't it? It gives you just enough structure to get you past that fear of the blank page, and it gives you just enough randomness to keep your imagination firing on all cylinders, constantly adapting to whatever comes next. It just goes to show you that a compelling story doesn't always need a grand master plan. Sometimes all it takes is a starting point, a few simple rules, and the courage to just see where the story takes you. Which really leaves us with just one final thought. With a pen and some dice, what story would you tell?